Hey guys, so this video that I am going to do is kind of going over different ways of note-taking. Just ideas to kind of let you know so you can kind of get a gist of what you may or may not want to try. Big thing is for nursing students is that each class you'll learn after probably 2-3 weeks in that class, you'll learn how to take the notes for that class. If the teacher does PowerPoints, more than likely you're going to print out your PowerPoints and you're going to study off of those. And so you're not going to really be handwriting, notebook paper and all that kind of stuff as much as you're going to be writing right on the PowerPoints. I had 2 classes last year, my A&P classes, that the instructor did lecture notes and then we printed those out and I never wrote any notes. And then for other classes, I wrote tons of notes. So this is just a few different ideas for note-taking. So one thing that I did is for pharmacology, and for like lab values or just different things like that, I use note cards. I love note cards. Love them. So for pharmacology, you can write up your own note cards. This is actually what I use at clinical. It's all of the main drugs that we need to know for clinical. So I just hole punch it and then you can write them up yourself. Otherwise, for Christmas, I actually got the printed out fancy ones, so I have the whole box of fancy ones. So you can get those ones on eBay or Barnes & Noble, any place. But note cards, you can write them up, you can buy other ones, but note cards are great for things like that, where it's like your lab values or drugs or that kind of stuff. It's really hard to do different diseases on note cards and stuff. It doesn't work as easy, but if you're a big note card person, you can try it. Just try things and then change it if you need to. So note cards are big. What I did, I'll show you a few different ways that I took notes for one class. This is just one class and it changed like 4 times, but that's okay. So the first way that I did is just regular notes. So I just wrote the chapter, wrote the heading, went through, started taking my notes. Basically, that's it. Nothing too fancy. I just took notes. And then I think it was like a week or 2 after I started that class, then I decided that I was going to try to do things just a little bit differently, not too much or anything like that. But I started it's kind of like the Cornell note style, so that's what I started doing here. So I just left that space over and put the headings off to the side, and then I put on my notes over here. And I always draw pictures and that kind of stuff. And this was fine. This worked out really good, except for I learned really quickly that you have to write a lot of notes. A lot of notes. For some classes, you like are always taking notes or writing notes from your textbook and all that kind of stuff. So, because I was doing so many, I decided I was going to try to type them. So you can type in that style too. I just did a table, have the 2 areas, and just that's all I did basically for typing. And then for this one, I did the font really small. Other ones that I did it bigger. Like here, you can see that it's larger. And that was pretty much how I did my notes for a while until I got the PowerPoints for that class. And when I got the PowerPoints for that class, I was a very happy girl because I took a lot of notes. But when I got my PowerPoints, I printed my PowerPoints off like this. I don't like to do the squares or anything like that. But then as I was reading and I go through along with the PowerPoint, then anything that wasn't on the PowerPoint that I wanted to, I just added on. So I just wrote it off, little jot note on the side. Then for different diseases, like for your med-surg classes and stuff like that, where you go through and you're learning a whole bunch of different diseases, I found out a really cool way to help you learn all that stuff. At first, I thought I was going to try to do these big note cards, And this works too. It works just fine. But you go through, and I printed, or I would write on there the disease, like this is vitamin B12 deficiency anemia. And then I would put it, like regular color would be the definition, purple is treatments, green is signs and symptoms, that kind of stuff. And I just put them on these big note cards because I love these note cards. Well, then one day I decided that I was going to try something a little bit different. Pretty much same concept though. I took a big sheet of just plain paper. Same concept. I just wrote on that instead. So I wrote the disease in the middle and a definition. Then in orange I put labs. Pink, what's pink? Pink is just different like sites where it can be seen or people had seen it. Green is signs and symptoms, nursing management's purple, that kind of stuff. And I just drew arrows. And then this way it was a little bit more visual for me. And I could just go through and flip and just different diseases. So this one you could see I drew arrows. This one was more of how I kind of always did it, but it's just the different colors. So it has a disease at the top, different colors and everything, and just kind of put it in the same order each time. And that really, really helped for that kind of a class. So like I said, really just figure out, give yourself a couple of weeks in the class, and then you can kind of learn, okay, I don't need to write as many notes because I have the PowerPoints, or I need to write more notes because of, you know, I'm doing more textbook reading or something. I already have the reading done for my classes because they start in like 2 days. For all my classes, and I have all of my classes, the notes are taken the same way. But I already know that I'm going to be doing what I just showed you for my complex health because it goes through the different diseases and stuff. So I'll be doing that. Yeah. But, so this is my notebook. And I actually have my notebook tabbed with the chapters because I do take a lot of notes. I wish I didn't take as many notes, but I do take a lot of notes when I do my reading. So for my reading, my textbook, I have just the chapters for the whole semester tabbed out that we are going to read. I don't tab out the whole thing because that's a waste of my time. But I have the ones tabbed out that we are assigned to read in the syllabus, the schedule. So in chapter 13, I go through and I read my book. Nursing students, read their books. Read them. It'll help you enormously. Read them twice. Read them. So I go through and I highlight the whole chapter. And when I'm done, I go back to the beginning and highlighted areas in my own words I write in my notes. And those are what my notes consist of. And it ends up being a lot of notes. But, so it's just notes. Sometimes there's some drawings or diagrams, anything like that in there. But it's right now, these are my notes. They're just plain notes. Within a couple of weeks in class, like I said, I'll figure out for sure how I want to do it. But at least this way I have gone through and I have that kind of stuff. I did use some note cards also for this class already for lab values, the different electrolytes, and I put on different note cards with the different values and diseases and that kind of stuff. So I'm kind of doing both, and for my note cards for all of my classes, actually I have them color coordinated as well, so I'll keep them in here. This is my purple class, so that one's there, and my note cards I'm using are in there. So hopefully this kind of just gives you an idea of just different ways of taking notes and realizing that if you are getting really frustrated after a couple of weeks in school, then you have an idea of changing up just a little bit, because it might not be the fact that you're not, you know, reading the information or not understanding it. It's just how you're trying to put it into your brain. So just change it up a little bit, talk to other classmates, get other ideas from other people. That's why I'm putting the video out here too, is just kind of a different idea, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So leave any questions or comments for me, and hopefully this video was helpful for you. I'll see you next time.